Ave Regina, Mater misericordiae, vita dulcedo, estes nostra salve.
The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. Jesus said to his disciples, "Beware of false prophets who come to you in sheep's clothing, but underneath are ravenous wolves. By their fruits you will know them. Do people pick grapes from thorn bushes or figs from thistles? Just so, every good tree bears good fruit, and a rotten tree bears bad fruit. A good tree cannot bear bad fruit, nor can a rotten tree bear good fruit. Every tree that does not bear good fruit will be cut down and thrown into the fire. So by their fruits you will know them." The Gospel of the Lord.
The wolves in sheep's clothing. That sheep's clothing, soft, feels good to the touch. It's comfortable. This is the clothing of the wolf because they want you to feel good. And so this is the deception that we're in today. The evil one manifests himself through what feels good to us. And so what feels good to us is our new sense of morality. And yet we're called to discern between the two. It's interesting that which feels so good can often be defended with great anger and vile speech, whereas the good shepherd lays down his life for his sheep and is the quiet, suffering servant. And so that anger and that vile speech, all this comes across in the sheep's clothing. It feels like the right thing to do. It feels good. Hilkiah finds the scroll, and when he reads it, the king tears his garments. That's a rage and an anger in and itself, but yet it's righteous because, you see, if Scripture or the church makes you angry because it's not being heeded or obeyed, that's a good sign. That's the voice of the Lord stirring you to a righteous and a holy zeal to conform. Okay? However, if you get angry in disagreement with what Scripture says and with what the church teaches, you're probably wrong. Or you misunderstand. I'll give you that. Because the truth makes those who don't want to hear angry in rebellion, but yet the truth for those who want to hear, those who are not deceived by the wolf in sheep clothing, for them the truth gets them angered to the point of moving to righteousness and righteous deeds. In other words, conversion. I need to change. St. Matthew reminds us in his gospel, a little bit later than where we're reading here, of three profound agents of change when we're talking about being conscious of the truth of the difference between the wolf in sheep's clothing and the sheep and the shepherd himself. It's in prayer where I learn to hear the voice of the Good Shepherd, where I take time to pray. I encounter his word in Scripture, and I listen in the depths of my soul. And it's in fasting that I'm able to confront the things that make me feel good every day and be able to say, you know what, I can put that aside today. It's where I master what feels good as a training program for doing the right thing when it's difficult. I put aside what feels good for the virtue of what is right. In the fasting, I learn to put away my passions for the sake of truth. And in what we call almsgiving, almsgiving is acts of mercy, not necessarily simply giving money away, but it's an act of mercy where we act with the mercy of Christ. Where the wolf would call us to respond to our good feelings and the preservation of our good feelings with anger and violence, in almsgiving I respond with mercy. Something that will maybe give us a good discerning factor between the feelings that go with the wolf as opposed to the feelings that go with the Good Shepherd. Take a look at Galatians 5, verse 19 to 23 sometime. I don't know all the words by heart, but basically what it says this: the fruit of the flesh, anger, jealousy, violence. Okay, take a look at that sometime. That's Galatians 5:19. And then in 5:20, he says the fruit of the Spirit, love, peace, patience, kindness. Look at all those feelings and see the way you're reacting. And the chances are very good that if you're responding in the fruit of the flesh, you're being seduced by the wolf in sheep's clothing. And if you're responding in the Spirit, you're being beckoned and led by the Good Shepherd. And so we look at the wolf for what it is, and we look at the Good Shepherd for who he is, and we become his devoted sheep.
Regina Celi, letare